Hello guys to a new video. This is all my submission for the 4x4x4 Slowest Flying Machine challenge launched by KK a few months ago. The goal is to make the slowest flying machine in the 4x4x4 volume, and that's what I did. A lot of ideas were thrown around, so I'm gonna show mine. I'm gonna start by the fastest, which is my 68 Gimting engine, and then go to the slowest, which I won't spoil what's the speed, but very slow. So my first submission is the 68 Gimting engine, which uses this type of extension, just a stack of piston, the output at the bottom. By pulling the whole bar, you get the chain of delay down. And by stacking one on the right and one on the left, you can alternate with some chunky wire in the middle to make a loop. And we have 68 GMT. We have 68 GMT to move one block in front. I can start by pulling this, removing this redstone block to move the observer here and this one, the position here and here, to act as these ones. That's about it for this design. Let's launch it. So I already assembled one on the side, and then I can just launch it, updating this. And we can see a cascades down, which triggers some wiring to start the other side and then do a loop. And that's about it for this design. Stop it here. Before showing the next design, let's learn about the mushroom spreading basics. So at every choice, the mushroom selects a 3x3x3 cube, centered on them, and can choose one block in this volume, including themselves. The probability is not equal though. On the same Y level as the mushroom, we have probably 1/2 for the top, and one lower, but probably 1/4. At every choice, which is when they get random ticked, so that's 3 random ticks per 16 cube volume, every game tick, they have a 1 in 25 chance to start the choices. They make 5 choices in a row, and each result of one choice is the start of the next. For example, when this mushroom gets random ticked, you can decide to go this, and it will be the start of the next iteration. And you can go over here, and then here maybe, and then here. Do that 5 times in a row. And once those 5 times are done, if all the blocks along the way were air and mycelium under for us, then if the end is also mycelium and air, it will place the mushroom on the new block. That's mushroom spread basics. And now we can move on to the second type of submission, which is based on mushroom growth. So mushroom growth is kind of complicated, and I got most of my information from a video, which I will link in the description. But basically, mushroom can spread on mycelium, and by observing that, I got a flying machine in 2 steps that will move one block, half of his block, and then join again, moving one block forward every 2 growths of mushroom. So pretty simply, it's when the mushroom spread, activate this, because it pulls all this side, and destroys the mushroom from which the new one spawned in. And then now we can spread again diagonally, completing one block forward. So I have a design for 2, also 3 wide, where the mushroom can do this, spread 1 and then twice, or it can jump rarely, and then continue. And also a 4th one like this, which is basically similar, and then we hit the forward limit for this type of design. I made a new type, one with a diagonal, since mushrooms are less likely to spread upwards or downwards. So it needs to do up and then another down, which makes it slower. One diagonal down here and continue the same way. And I had another type of design is to split the mushroom. So here, when this mushroom spreads here, the observer detects it, sticky piston pulls the mycelium, pops the mushroom. So the mushroom has to do a double jump or quick jump, then jump. By jump, I mean spread, obviously. So it needs to do this, and now it can move. And here, it needs to do this, and this. Makes it slower, and then here it's just the same split, but diagonally up, so it's slower. And then here, it's the force, but no split. Design. Here we have a split with 4. So this one. So the mushroom has to do a jump. Like 2 and then 1. Or any variation of the path that you can find to make the machine move further. That's the same machine. And then you make it diagonal up and down, and that's the slowest you can guess. I think reasonably. I had some other design ideas, but they were too complicated and too hard to fit in 4x4. So that's all about the mycelium and mushroom based bread. And the slowest, so this one is about 5 times 10 to the 8 game tick per block forward with random tick speed of 3. So my next design uses a 1.12 bug in which villagers can control Minecart when they try to pathfind. So this guy could decide to pathfind to this bedrock, then they will move the minecart. And by using that, they can move across here, and when the detector rails get deactivated, pulls pushing everything forward. And simulate it by pushing the guy, and it just moves forward. And the speed of this is very hard to find. If I have this close to the ground, it will pathfind all the time. But if I have this in the air, it will never move, so pathfinding seems random. Too random to calculate the speed. So if anyone can find the speed, I'll be happy with it. This is just start wire. It just moved. Whatever. This is start wiring. That doesn't move with the minecart. Just to set up these blocks here. Because we need them for it to not fall off as we just saw. But it won't fit in the 4x4 if I don't have it like this, so it just needs this initial wiring. I'll also move this here. So this is the next design I've got, which uses random triggers, random tick speed 3 triggers on this redstone ore, which has a armor stand on it, activating the observer every so often when it gets random ticked, which powers these rails to move the minecart up or down, and it will do a loop. And then if we look at the assembled design, it's just initial wiring to fit in the 4x4x4. All the wiring stays here, so it's legal by the rules. Here, if I activate the rails, you can see I got moves. And once this detector rail moves, triggers all the push. There you go. And because the source is only an observer, it will do only a couple pulses. And then you see that if the pulses are too spread apart, the minecart won't go up. There needs to be a lot of consecutive pulses. And that makes the speed hard to calculate, to estimate, but I found that the probability of it going forward is between 10 to the minus 57 and 10 to the minus 110. That's the probability to go forward one block every game tick. So this is a slight variation on the previous design, which uses Hopper minecarts instead of carts, which are overloaded with the equivalent of 13 stacks of items. And having that, they get heavier. That's an obscure mechanic where minecarts gets heavier and then movement change depending on the contents, and by having them overloaded, we can increase the number of consecutive pulses that we need for them to move up the slope. But it still works the same. And by having 13 stacks, we reach the limit at 14. You can't get past with normal observer updates. The probability of going forward each game tick is around 10 to the minus 79 up to 10 to the minus 154. So that's slower than the previous design, but speed is still hard to estimate. This submission is one of my favorites because it was so fun to design, and that's the first cubic growth rate of slowness that was made. All the previous were linear or random, but this one is cubic, so the further it already is, the slower it gets. So I can just activate it by doing this. And as I explained, why is it cubic? So first, let's see in action. I'll just place one block above this piston, and let's see. So this flying machine goes back and forth, and it pushes this observer forward. This combination of this machine and this observer is quadratic. So this flying machine needs to do the square of the distance before moving. But then when it gets too far, this observer gets too far, it triggers this machine. You can see it moved. It will trigger this flying machine, which would go in this direction, pulling the observer with this block. See it in one step. Comes back, pushes, this one goes back, pushes back the observer of the other machine, then it goes back, and then this moves only once, this thing. It moves one block forward. Every time this moves here, and this moves quadratically. So the whole thing is cubic. The formula will be on screen now. And so depending on the distance, it gets slower and slower. I love it. Just end it like this. For the next design, we have a quadratic. So this one will move, push this observer one forward, and then come back here. But you may wonder how this gets triggered to move forward, but it uses this machine. This machine will oscillate between the two world borders, so 30 million in each direction. So it needs to travel 60 million block before this smaller one is triggered to move one block forward. This uses a QC powered piston here, and it only activates if it gets updated by this one. But if the wall border is here, just in front, this one cannot extend into the wall border. Not updating this one, this means the flying machine will return. with this design. With this lamp, the flying machine will return because it doubled pulses. Let's launch it and I'll demonstrate it. This smooth triggers this piston like this. Turns back at the wall border, triggers. This one makes it back. Triggers with QC. You can see the check here the piston. It moves and then it can't move and then we turn back. So this machine is quadratic, but it's actually mostly linear, since there is a linear part like this, and you can see the equation on screen. The coefficient of the linear part is around 60 million, which will make the linear parts much bigger than the quadratic part for reasonable distances. So it achieves great slowness and uses all the world possible. This is the masterpiece. This is combining the cubic design we saw previously with the 60 million block trigger. So we still have the same machine that triggers going back and forth the 2 wall borders, triggering this small design, moving this, doing a quadratic element like we had previously, but then also pushes this one, triggering this one, which makes it a cubic, since this observer will be pulled back every so often. I can launch this and we will see a different type of trigger, as there is a lot more stuff to fit in, so I had to do some different wiring. So just goes back and forth, triggering this one. This, let's do it like this so we can see the next move. Here we go, triggers. Fix the wall border. Pulls back everything. And we have this to block the machine. It uses another cycle to get back and move one block forward. You can see the sign was on the piston before, but it's not much different in speed. So this is cubic, but actually the biggest term is going to be quadratic, since the leading coefficient is 600 million. And now we're getting into the ridiculous speeds. This flying machine, if set up properly, will never go forward in our lifetime. This uses a modified design designed by Fake Story, channel link in the description, which uses redstone ore like we've seen previously, and Namaste to trigger this bud and make the flying machine move forward if there is enough consecutive pulses too. And once far enough, it will trigger this machine, which will go forward, and this is just a simple quadratic design. So nothing too fancy, but makes this machine so much slower. So if I do the random tick speed to like 1000, you can see it move, do steps forward, and then the good thing, the slow thing that makes this very slow is that if there is not enough consecutive pulses, the flying machine will fly in this direction. So it's gonna be stuck at the wall border most of the time, and then sometimes when there is enough consecutive triggers, this 2000 so we can see it move. It will move and then trigger this flying machine to move forward. Maybe do more. There we go. Move once, then move twice quickly. As you see, even with stick speed 5000, it's kind of slow to move. Like 6 blocks. So imagine 30 million blocks to travel just to move 1 block forward. This is kind of ridiculous. And the default is 3, so we're not even seeing that smooth. The expected speed of this is linear with the coefficient displayed on screen, which is 7 times 10 to the 9.4 times 10 to the 7, which is a huge number, even compared to Google, or how many atoms are in the universe, or how many seconds is there in the universe lifetime. So, and this is just to move one block approximately. And this is just to move one block on average. So we're not seeing this move any day. Now comes the final design, the master of all designs, which is basically the same as the old one, but the random source to trigger this piston is not random tick, it's lightning fire. But as you may think, fire, lightning is pretty rare, thunder is rare, it's very rare, and we need a lot of consecutive to update the piston twice for it to move one block. Then we need to update it fast enough so that the flying machine doesn't go too much towards the one border on the left. And we need to do that 30 million times in a row just to move one block forward. This is not happening. Thus, the speed from which this move forward is around 10 to the 10 to the 10 to the 9.3. This number is so big it doesn't even fit in our universe. Nothing can compare to this number. Even nothing can compare to this number. It is simply huge. How I got this number is kind of complicated and I'm not sure of the math. So if you know anything about math or randomness calculation, I've made a post about it, and so you can check it out for all the details. And if you can find a better estimate of the speed of this machine, I would be happy. But this is slow. So that is it from a machine that is as slow as it gets, as slow as the number characterizing its speed is so big, can't even imagine it. To quadratic, cubic, using entities, villagers, mushroom spread, a lot of design actually, variations of the same, and then simple extension at 16 kdig. We had a lot of design, and there is a bunch more by a lot of other talented slimestoners, so I will link the video by KK on this challenge when he uploads. So check the description and